The other day I was reading the Dwarf Fortress wiki page on surroundings, and I realized something. I don't know if I've ever settled somewhere good. Yeah, sure, anywhere where the elves can't find you is good, but I mean good in a technical sense. Typically I just find somewhere haunted or wild and set up shop there. I'm not even quite sure I knew that there was such a thing as good surroundings, or that unicorns live there. Immediately I knew that I had to try my hand at unicorn ranching. Usually I designate any and all animals to be slaughtered the moment they fall into my possession, so by actually breeding unicorns, I would be finding out about a new animal, a new mechanic, and a new location. I settled in a mirthful forest, unfortunately surrounded by elves, but hopefully also surrounded by unicorns, and after setting up the basics of a fortress, workshops, farm, statues of dwarves and unicorns standing side by side in peace and harmony, I sent my dwarves out to place cage traps along the northern border of our territory, so that I would have a chance to catch any migrating unicorn herds that wandered too close. Of course, if I did capture anything, I would need somewhere to put it, and so I deforested and marked off a large chunk of blue and white grass to be used as an animal training / pasture area. After puttering around the fortress taking care of little things here and there, I eventually noticed that we had caught something in our cages. Only it wasn't unicorns, it was tapirs. Hardly the majestic creatures I was looking for. But still, I didn't have much going on. I was mostly just waiting for unicorns to show up, and I had never trained animals before, so the arrival of these tapirs presented me with an opportunity to learn. And so learn I did. I learned that you actually have to assign an animal trainer to the animals for them to be trained. I learned that once they become semi-wild, the training has to move to a restraint or a pasture. And I learned that if you are training a tapir and it reverts back to its wild state and starts kicking, that sucker can do some damage. The animal trainer got sent to the hospital by the tapir, but that was nothing compared to the woodcutter who died after being kicked in the throat. After the rogue tapir made her escape, she was eventually caught in another cage trap and was properly trained. She was even given a name out of respect for her military prowess. After even more puttering around the fortress waiting for unicorns to show up, I was notified that we had tapir babies on our hands, which was a nice successful conclusion to Project Tapir. But now we just had to do the whole thing over again with unicorns. And if tapir kicks were that deadly, I was not looking forward to finding out what a horn could do. Having successfully learned how animals work, I sat back and waited for the unicorns to roll in. And waited some more. Until eventually it had been 3 years, and I had yet to see a single hoof, let alone an entire unicorn. I hadn't wanted to resort to my plan B, but the lack of wild unicorns forced my hand, and some of my puttering came to fruition. We had dozens of swords and hammers stockpiled for this change of plans, and after months of training with them on the down low, I now sent my squad, Unicorn Retrieval, on a very focused livestock-only raiding mission to a nearby elf settlement. When all they brought back were useless leopards and horses, I got rid of the animals in my typical fashion, and sent my squad back out for round 2, and then round 3, and then finally round 4. Stealing livestock from elf settlements 4 times had made us rich in meat, but with the 4th attempt it also made us rich in unicorns. They were immediately sent to the pasture area because the elves we stole them from had tamed them already. The first 3 times we stole from the elves, they either hadn't noticed or hadn't cared, but with our unicorn theft, they finally declared war on us. I wasn't too worried about it, they were elves after all, but when the notification came up that they were doing a quintuple ambush, I was a little taken aback by their sheer numbers. Of course, numbers can't really stand up to iron hammers and swords, and so the elves were taken care of pretty quickly. As a warning to any future elves that might think about stealing back their unicorns, I aligned the outside walls of the pasture with the bodies of the defeated elves. And then, when the unicorns gave birth to 2 foals, my mission to start a unicorn ranch was officially a success. It hadn't always been smooth sailing getting there, but we now had renewable unicorn resources. After I locked up and sold one of the foals for a tidy profit to the yearly dwarven caravan, I was convinced. Unicorn ranching may have led the elves to declare war on me, but it was just good dwarven business. Thanks for watching.